How has home buying changed since the implementation of the new real estate laws? Let's go over that. The first thing that's changed is that prior to showing any home, a home buyer must sign a buyer-broker agreement with their agent. This is a buyer's agent who will assist the buyer throughout the process of the home buying experience. The buyer-broker agreement will outline the responsibilities of your agent to you in the home buying process. More importantly, this agreement spells out compensation obligations of the client. What are we seeing right now in the industry? Typically, the seller would offer 2.5% plus or minus to the buyer's broker for a finder's fee and help navigating the buyer's side of the transaction. The benefits of the seller providing this 2.5% to the buyer's agent are numerous, including mitigating risk to the seller. All the disclosures are now the responsibility of the buyer and the buyer's agent to go over. If this were just up to the listing agent, they wouldn't have the buyer's interests at heart and they would be liable and the seller would be more liable for problems that arose during escrow. What we're seeing right now is that things essentially have not changed. The sellers are continuing to pay 2.5% to the buyer's broker. Thus, the buyer is not responsible for paying their buyer's agent most of the time. However, experienced agents are going to spell out in this buyer-broker agreement, I am to receive 2.5% regardless of where it comes from. If I only get 2% from the seller, the buyer's going to have to come up with 0.5%. But we're seeing that the seller is continuing to pay the 2.5%. I'm going to tell you why the seller should continue to pay 2.5% to the buyer's broker. The reason is because there are agents like me who will bend over backwards to find buyers for your listing. I will go through my Rolodex. I will call friends. I will door knock. I will do anything I can to procure a buyer for your home. Can you sell it without paying 2.5%? Absolutely, you can. However, you are doing a disservice to yourself and the listing itself. The other recent change that's been implemented is that instead of the seller being mandatorily required to offer 1 penny to the buyer's agent, now they are obligated to offer 0, from 1 penny to 0. So there was a contractual stipulation stating that 1 penny must be paid to the buyer's broker, but now that 1 penny went to 0. It is a nominal difference. However, it is more important that it shows that everything's negotiable. And in the end of the day, everything always was negotiable. It's on the contracts, and always remember that everything's negotiable. But now compensation must be spelled out upfront in a buyer's broker agreement and then confirmed in the contract how much the buyer's broker is going to ask for from the seller. Another change is that the MLSs are no longer allowed to display a field that shows the compensation that is going to be offered to the buyer's broker. The reason why they did this is because there were some agents, and I've never known one, but I've heard of them. I've heard of agents who do this, but it's despicable. They have a list of homes to show their buyer, but they're going to show the ones that are 3%, 2.5% on down. Typically, you have some commissions as high as 3% to entice people to get their clients into it, and then they'd have 2.5%, and then some as low as 2.5% or 2% and 1% or less. And this can happen in higher end listings and especially in new construction. But now they've taken out that completely. So now it forces the buyer's agent to really just focus on service and getting the agent and steering them into the homes that are perfect for them, as opposed to steering them into homes that will compensate the buyer's broker more. I'm sad to say that they did this. I really feel it's unnecessary. I never looked at the commission fields. I never asked about commission. And realistically, these agents who were the problem actors, they can still get away with this because all they need to do is call the listing agent and ask, what's the compensation to the buyer's broker, if any? And then the listing agent will tell them, we're offering 2.5% most likely. They did this to discourage agents who were doing this unethically, steering their clients towards higher compensation homes to buy. But those bad agents are gonna do this anyways, so this was pointless. but I guess it made it a little more difficult for those agents to get away with steering clients into those higher commission homes. Those are the majority of the recent changes that have come into effect. These are the changes that are going to affect you the most. There are some other changes, but to me, they're not nearly as significant as these ones. These are the ones that are really going to affect your buying and selling experience. And to sum up, I highly recommend that sellers continue to list with 2.5% compensation to the buyer's broker, because then you'll get go-getters like me who are going to bend over backwards to get clients into your home. So if you're looking for a great buyer's agent, contact me and I'll help you find the perfect buyer's agent in any state. I'm going to refer you to the ideal agent and you'll be able to speak with me for free. So you get 2 agents for the price of 1. If they can't answer the phone about questions you have during the process, I'll answer and I'll help you out. And I'll help keep that agent accountable to what they need to do for you, ensuring the best service possible. Regardless of whether you're a home buyer, home seller, or a new agent or experienced agent, I wish you the very best in your home buying experience.